Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Train Simulator 2021. And what you're looking at here is one of the UK's most ubiquitous, most common electrical multiple units, or, electric trains. This is the Class 377 Electrostar, though it's not the 377 that is the most common train itself, rather the entire family of Electrostars. There's the Class 357, 375, 376, 377 that you're looking at here, 378 Capital Star, the 379, and the 387. There's also a version in South Africa called the Gau train, but that isn't here. What we're looking at is this bog-standard British version built by Bombardier. The Electrostar came about after the privatisation of British Rail, which was stupid. That's not the topic of today's video. British Rail was privatised, and one of the things that the train operating companies promised to do was replace the aging slam door stock, such as Class 421s, 423s, 302s, 310s, 303s, all the very old aging EMUs and DMUs that British Rail had not been able to afford to get rid of because they'd been underfunded. They promised to replace those with shiny new trains, and the Electrostars were one of the first. Electrostars have seen service with a variety of the British train operating companies. 357s are operated solely by C2C, 375s are operated solely by Southeastern, 376s are also operated solely by Southeastern, 377s have been operated by Southern, First Capital Connect, Thameslink, and Southeastern. 378s, the Capital Stars, are solely operated by London Overground. 379s, entirely by Greater Anglia, though they were ordered by National Express East Anglia. And the 387s are in service with Thameslink, Great Northern, GWR, and a handful are operated by C2C. The Electrostars are now end of life. Apparently the last one rolled off the production line in 2017, and they've been replaced by the absolutely hideous Adventure units, like the Class 345 that is meant to be for Crossrail. I won't call it Elizabeth Line, because that's not what it was. Yes, the Adventure's not pretty, and also they don't have yellow fronts, which means they're not actually British trains. They're probably more American or something, I don't know. Take a picture of an Adventure and it looks like it's in a different country. Because British trains have yellow fronts, you see. I don't care if the rules say you don't need a yellow front. Put a yellow front on it, you jerks. So the 377 then. We're here with just a normal 4-carriage unit. This is, of course, with the Armstrong Powerhouse Enhancement Pack, which affects only the 375 and 377, and the main line of 377s, as Armstrong Powerhouse have unfortunately been limited by the models. They've done a fantastic job. They've been able to model the original fronts that these had. This is not the original front, though. This is the refurbished front. The facelifted front. So with the windows you see here, this is a 375, 377 window. On a more recent Electrostar, it's a more typical window, I suppose. It's got a ridge of rubber around it, and there's more metal in between the windows. I think it's metal, probably. So, whilst there are 5-carriage versions of the 377, the /6 and /7, those are not represented here. Nor is the 379, or the 376, or 357, or, it's just the 375 and 377, as that's all they've really got to work with. Hopefully, we'll see a 387 pack or something at some point, but for now, it's just the 377. I keep saying 377, let's just call it the Southern Electrostar or whatever. So let's get this baby rolling, shall we? I'm pretty sure I've set up the cab. All we've got to do is close the doors. And we're gonna just listen to the I suppose it's the iconic sound of this train. Electrostars are 20 years old, but they still sound like they're from the future. You know, once upon a time, I played Dead Space, or at least I watched someone play it, like back in 2008, 2009. I watched a friend of mine play the original Dead Space, and there was this tram, the ship's transit system, and it sounded a lot like this. And that was obviously meant to be a futuristic tram, and when I first heard an Electrostar, I thought it was... it just blew me away, to be honest. The future was here, or so I thought. I suppose I can say that I love these trains. I mean, I'm a bit iffy about some of these trains, which is weird because they all pretty much look the same. I mean, I'm not really a fan of the 375, but I love the 377, but they look more or less the same, so what's the point? And then there's the 387, which looks almost exactly the same as this. In fact, it looks very, very similar to the 379, which is a train that I really do love. And I don't really like the 387, even though it looks a lot like this, almost exactly the same, but I don't like it because I'm weird. So 377, the Electrostars as a whole, like, some have been built purely for AC power. That is to say, well, in the UK there are two main forms of electrification. There's 25 kilovolt AC overhead lines, and this is the 750 volt DC third rail. Apparently this is an older system, or somewhat obsolete, or whatever. It's what we have. And as you can see here, this is a DC only version of the 377, the /4, and this is where you'd have the pantograph for the overhead lines. As there are also not bi-mode, dual voltage, that's the word. So there are 377/2s, which have the third rail shoes and a pantograph on one of the coaches. The 377/2s aren't the only Electrostars that are dual mode capable. There's the /5s, which are now operated by Southeastern. There's the 387s are solely dual mode, I think. What does the interior look of this train look like? Well, we have the opportunity to look inside this train, unlike with the 421 that I looked at last time. This is the interior of a standard class 377 with Southern. There's first class, there's the seats. They're looking a bit ragged because these things have been in service for at least 15 years. As someone who has actually been on a lot of these trains, quite a few times, honestly, the 379s are a lot nicer than these, than the 377s. The 77s aren't that bad, but yeah, there's a few more amenities in the 379s, like there's plugs for the seats, for plug sockets. I mean, you get a nice table, but yeah, they're decently comfy. But I went on a Gatwick Express class 387 once when I had to be routed through Shoreham, not Shoreham, through Horsham, that's the word, because the main line that we're on now was under maintenance or something. So we had to go through Littlehampton and Horsham, and the seats on the 387s for Gatwick Express are, well, there's a very good reason why they've been nicknamed ironing boards. They are rock hard and not very comfortable. These are more or less commuter trains, and making the class 387 the Gatwick Express train was a mistake because, well, they had purpose-built trains for Gatwick Express, the Class 460s, and then they got rid of those, replaced them with the Class 442s, which, well, apparently they were quite nice inside, and then they got rid of those and replaced them with 387s, which, with those ironing board seats, not very comfortable. Yeah. I suppose that's the reason why I don't like the 387s. They've not been designed with a lot of consumer friendliness. Because the 377s, even though the seats are quite worn out, they're still pretty comfortable. But the 387 that I went on was not comfortable. And that's another reason why I hate the 700s as well, those Desiro City things. Not only are they hideous, but they've got horrid seats as well. And people think they're nice. Oh god, what is wrong with humanity? But yeah, I suppose that's enough waffling for now. That's a class 387. Not 387, 377. The most common type of train in the UK that I'm aware of. At least the most common type of electric multiple unit. And I like most of them. It's just a shame there's no 379 here. Give me, I say, 379. Also, Greater Anglia, don't replace the 379s with those horrid Fleet things. Honestly, they're not even 10 years old and you're replacing them with already? Idiots. Don't you know how to do trains? Niederländische Spoorwege? Because that's who owns Greater Anglia. Anyway, that's enough. Goodbye.